infinite.
Hey guys, Infinite here. I've had a lot of people on my page and like through the other tutorials I've done, been posting about if I could do a tutorial on like mixdowns, on how I do them and stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know how in-depth or helpful I'll be able to be with this, so hopefully I cover some useful stuff. This by any means, this is not the right way on how to mix down a track. Like, I'm not saying like this is how you should do it or this is how it's properly done, because it's not at all. I'm sure some stuff I'm even like possibly doing wrong or whatever. But yeah, this is just the way I do it. I like how the final product sounds, and obviously you guys do too, because you're asking on how I get it done. So yeah, the session I've got open right now is Bring That. I was pleased with how that one sounded, so we're going to go over that one. So yeah, basically what I'll do before like I start a new tune now, to kind of keep my like signature sound, style, whatever, like similar between tracks, I'll open up like the last tune that I was really happy with, like mixdown wise and stuff, and then I'll delete like this playlist. I'll just delete the entire song structure, delete all my automation, all my audio, most of the sounds. I'll keep a couple, tweak those, make them different, but like they'll still sound like Infinite sounds, and then I'll just go from there. Because then all my levels are like drums and stuff are where I'd like them to sit in a mix anyways, so I can just go from there. It's a lot faster than like starting a brand new session and going from there. But so yeah, getting into it, like the main thing I do for for my tune is I'll base it like all my levels around the kick. So just open a kick pattern, like, and you can see on my levels right here, over here, my kick is hitting like really close to -9 decibels. Like, I'll have it peaking. It's a little bit louder, but basically I keep it close to there, and then I'll build all my levels around that kick hitting there, and then it makes my track like it'll keep everything so that my master channel is peaking at around -3 dB. This is a bit lower, it's more close to 4, but around there, whatever. That just makes it so there's a lot of headroom and nothing's going to clip. And yeah, they just seem to come out nicely when I do that. And then when I'm done, like, it'll obviously be quiet, and I'll just bounce it as a wave and then boost the volume with ozone or whatever. But yeah, so that's, keep the kick like that. And then balancing everything, just for like a kick, EQ. Oh wait, this is just this is how I've got mine. A lot of people like roll their kicks off around 80 hertz or something. I've pretty much cut this almost right at like 65. I've done like a really steep roll off there. It just makes it so it's not clashing with the sub. Boosts the high end so it gets a little bit more punch through there. This is without any EQ. Like, pretty fat, but it's gonna sound messy in the mix just like that, so I like it like that. It sounds a bit more punchy. Snare, it's just like, this is a snare I balanced. I just took I think 2 or 3 samples I had. One was like, had a nice little reverb tail, and then I got like a fat meaty one and like a really high-endy one. Just layered all those, and then I don't like bring all 3 layers in. I'll just do it in an empty session, make a bunch of snares, and bounce them, so it's just the one sample. And for that EQ, I just boosted the 200 hertz right there is a big peak. That's going to give your snare the punch or the beef of it, and it'll punch through your mix nicely. I just boosted the high end a little bit there, and yeah. So that's, I don't really have like a specific snare level or anything like that. It's just wherever the snare sounds good with that. The snare will probably end up being the loudest thing in your tune anyways. But, yeah, to make everything sound like with your kick, it's hard to get your drums sounding nice with your synths. So, like right here, right at the drop here, I was pretty pleased with how I got the kick and the snare going with my sub and my synth, so that like nothing was clashing. So like everything sounds nice. You can hear it. It's all got its own space. For my sub, this is like a pretty standard EQ. I just completely low cut it at like, I don't even know, at 20 hertz, because you can't hear anything below 20 hertz, but I figure why not. And then I just high cut it at here, so it's just like a straight up and down. It's just going to be the straight sub right there. So you're not getting any like rogue high stuff or any annoying low stuff. And for my synths, on all of them, basically for the snare, I'll make put an EQ right at 200 hertz and make it like a really narrow bandwidth, so it's just like that, and I'll dip out like 4 dB of every synth channel. All these ones here, the growl, and all these blue ones here are my just like my synth tracks, and I'll just do the same for all of them. Just dip out a little bit to right at 200, just so give the snare a bit more room. The biggest thing for like the clean thing is sidechaining. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how I do my sidechaining. I'll put a link in the description because there's a lot of really easy videos on YouTube on how to set it up the way I do it. I actually don't use a compressor. I use a Fruity Peak controller, which is, I don't know, people might be like, it's not real sidechaining or whatever, but it's what I do. I have a sidechain set up for my sub, my synth, and my sweeps. I will sidechain my kick and my snare to all of them. So I'll show you exactly what's going on. You can see it right here. Actually, yeah, I'll show you what's going on. If you look right here, this is like all the levels in Fruity. There's a little volume knob right here where I'm clicking. And you can see how I've linked it up so there's like a trigger setup, so it sidechains. It actually just like ducks the volume right out when there's a kick or snare hit. Same with my sub. These brown ones are my synths. The blue ones are my sub, different subs. So you can watch the volumes duck out when there's a kick or a snare hit. And so that's how it sounds with that on. If I turn off my sidechain, which are these here, they're my sidechain triggers, you'll get what I mean with that before. It sounds like this. I don't know if you can tell over YouTube, but it sounds really bad. So yeah, that's a big one, the sidechain thing. Like I said, I'll put a link on how I do that. And yeah, I do it for my sweeps too, because it's pretty cool. I think the way I have it, I'll show you what's going on there. If I have my sidechain sweep, it kind of makes like this nice little pumping effect when it rises. And if I have it turned off, it just sounds like, you know, so with that, it gives it like a little pumping, like it's kind of chopped up, like, sounds cool. I like it. Sidechain's my biggest like tip for getting a clean mix down. That's like, if you do that, stuff will come through a lot nicer. Just general stuff, what I'll do, go through like my channels here. I'll low cut like a shit ton of stuff. Like this is my snare EQ. Low cut it at like 100 hertz. It's like, there's not going to be very many frequencies below that, but it's like if you have a lot of things that have a little bit of unwanted stuff in the low end. Like it'll build up and it'll get muddy. So stuff like that, I'll low cut that. I low cut my sweeps at like 600 hertz, just so there's zero low end there. Same with hi-hats, just like might as well get that little shit out. Cymbals, like my crash cymbals and stuff, same, just straight low cut it. All my synths, this is probably a no-brainer, but you don't want your, like, you don't want a patch to have a lot of low end, like that's sub frequency, and then layer your sub under it, because then you're going to get like one synth in your mix that will sound a lot more subby than something else, and it'll sound weird. So I low cut all my synths at around 90, maybe a bit more, like 90 to 110-ish, depends on the sound really. I just do that for all of these channels. Yeah, all my synths are just low cutted. Stuff like, what else can I explain here? Like vocal samples, if they're going over patterns, I'll low cut those as well. If it's just like a vocal sample at the drop, like this guy, like he's not really going to clash with much, so you know, it's kind of fine if there's a bit of low end stuff there. I'll low cut stuff like this too, like, or not low cut, sorry, I'll sidechain that to my kick and snare too, just so it gives it a bit of, I don't know, the drums come through really nicely. That's my big thing. I've got like a mad boner for sidechaining, I guess. But yeah, not as much Mixdown stuff but like it's just my automation to do cool stuff, like for build-ups and stuff like that. I've got just this loop here, like I've got it filtered. Well, you can hear like this build-up loop right here. That's just this guy here. I've got him low cutted too, and then I've got this filter automated here. It's just this the frequency I've got going, so it's just like it starts with not much, and then it eventually just it allows more high frequencies to come through. It sounds nice for mixed or for build-ups and stuff. Hi-hats are pretty, I'm not that good with hi-hats, like writing hi-hat patterns and stuff. I just keep it simple, like just patterns like this. I don't really do that much with them. Like I low cut them EQ. Sometimes I'll either boost the highs or take the highs down, and I pretty much just throw like a stock free reverb on there, turn it, like adjust it to whatever I want. So it's just like gives it a bit of space, but like you guys have probably noticed, I don't really do that many technical hi-hat patterns. A lot of the time I'll just like rock a ride cymbal like this through the whole tune, like because like I can kind of do more complex hi-hat things, but I find they just sound messy and bad if I do them. I'll go into a bit of my layering for this. Like you can see, this is my pattern. So right here, these guys, we've got like, this is the growl sound, like he's layered with that. It's just like a clone, changed a bit different. These guys down here, that's like the LFO, the wobble, I guess, if you want to call it, in this, so it'll sound like this. But as you can see, it's 3 different patches making that, so it goes, that's layer 1, layer 2, you know, and they, like, all of them, like, on their own don't sound that great. It's like, but you put them together and it sounds a lot nicer. I feel like I'm kind of drifting away from the Mixdown stuff here. Sorry about that. This is like I said, yeah, I'm not that big on my tips for mixdowns. Like, I keep it pretty simple. I pretty much showed you like the main things. Sidechaining is a big one. Low cutting your low frequencies to keep your sub and your low end stuff clean. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'll put a link for how I sidechain in FL Studio in the description, so you guys can check that out if you want to do that. And if you're in a different program, I have no idea how to set up your sidechain with a compressor or whatever. So just YouTube that, you'll figure it out and start sidechaining your stuff. And yeah, hope this was kind of helpful. Sorry if it wasn't. Gonna do lots of tutorials this week. Gonna try to do like one a day for a thank you for getting my page to 3,000. So yeah, hope this was kind of good. And thanks again, guys. Take it easy.